Rajesh. I'm Rajesh. I'm from Juniper Networks, and I'm the consultant for the data center and the enterprise networks. So today, as I heard a lot of sessions, it was really overwhelming, and I saw a lot of applications, apps being developed for the e-governance perspective, and how they're looking forward in terms of how citizens should not come to any of the government offices today, and they can access anything sitting from anywhere, anytime kind of these services. So primarily, I'll be focusing more on when you talk about these apps, when you talk about these applications, and when you talk about citizens not coming to government offices, when we talk about all this and when we hear about all this, but I just wanted to put some thoughts about where is this applications, apps going to reside, and how does this give you the user experience, right? These are the things which we need to look at when we talk about these kind of changes what are happening, right? So from that perspective, what I want to say is, today, cloud is matured, and customers have started adapting cloud in a very big way, right? And how many of you believe that cloud is really going to transform your business, right? I see that majority of you will be feeling that, yes, cloud is the way to go ahead, and this is the way it's going to transform your business, the way you want to do it, and the way it wants to give your user experience. So that is where I want to start up. And also I want to focus more on, depending upon how you build your cloud services, how you build your, because when we talk about cloud, what is cloud? First of all, when we talk about cloud, virtualization, security, what is cloud? Cloud is nothing but data centers, right? We talked about consolidation of data centers. Now we are talking about cloud services. We are talking about Megaraj, which actually puts up together the SDCs all together so that you can have the application access. So many applications, so many apps being developed, which can be accessed anytime, anywhere by any of the citizens, G2C, G2G, G2B, whatever you want to, right? This is what we are talking about, whether it can be a private, whether it can be a hybrid, whether it can be a public. It should be user transparent, right? How the user gets his experience, and how you can have those apps, how you can store your data, how you can do analytics over those data, what is the value you can get out of the data which is being stored. The data which is stored is petabytes, right? Like huge. But how do you get some valuable information out of this data? For example, in healthcare, right? When I store the data, can I get some valuable information of the patient through this data which has been stored, which helps you to diagnose, which helps you to reduce, which helps you to make it faster, right? These are the things which happens at the background when we talk about all these apps and applications which are going to be given to the users and use it transparently, right? So interesting facts, that's what I was saying about. Out of 1358 global respondents, 49% see cloud as transformation to their business, right? 40% investigating, 5% don't see cloud, 6% still don't know. Because as EMC person told, that residual data, where it resides, when I get back the data, whether there is some data which is left which is not given to me. There are no things, we don't know, right? These are some of the key things which are actually this 5%, 6% of the customers who are not looking at the cloud, right? Another thing I wanted to talk about is, when we talk about all this, we always forget one thing, that is security, right? Security is the key. When we talk about Aadhaar, when we talk about a lot of things like mapping Aadhaar to the bank account and doing M-banking, e-transactions, right? But you see so much of information of a person or a profile or whatever you call it, or a posture, has been stored, and that needs to be secured. When we talk about healthcare, we talk about EMR data records, digitized records. So these needs to be secured, right? Security is the key concern when we move towards cloud. Why I am saying this and why I am stressing this is that the security, what you look at from the perspective of the last couple of years back, is not the same security what you are going to look when you move towards the cloud or when you move towards the virtualization, right? Because there is a lot of difference, right? That today the attacks have been very sophisticated, and you will not know whether, when we have one good technology, when I go to the customers and ask them, whether, do you know whether you have been attacked? They don't know, right? Either they know they have been attacked, or they don't know they have been attacked. But when you put some tools into their networks, you know that they have been attacked, right? These are the things which are happening. So I wanted to make it very clear that please, whenever you build any kind of infrastructure or any kind of data centers or any kind of cloud initiatives, please look into security as one of the key concerns and try to, because today we are also seeing that there are a lot of budgets being put to security, right? So there are a lot of attacks, and as I want to talk about few words about security today, there is a lot of new technology which has come, which is known as a deception technology, right? What it means is whenever people want to access the web, there is some deception technology which helps you to collect the fingerprints of the hackers, more than 200 features of the fingerprints which you can capture and then load it into your database. Like Aadhaar, what we are doing is we are taking the fingerprints of the hacker and building a database. And tomorrow what helps you is if any hacker comes and attacks your network, you can just query the database in the cloud and say whether is this a hacker, right? And immediately it will map to those fingerprints and say yes, he is a hacker, and immediately you can push the policies throughout the network dynamically and stop that attacker coming in from any point of your network. This is what when we talk about cyber security. The days are gone what we were talking about firewall, IPSs, and these things what I talk about in terms of security perspective. Today people are talking about it, deception technologies, and also talking about fingerprinting the hackers, having the databases, mapping those databases, and then coming out with relevant information to say that he is the attacker or he is the hacker. Right? These are the things which you need to take care when you are trying to build the cloud services. And traffic volumes I don't want to talk about because the mobile applications, the e-applications, and so many applications, and there is a lot of traffic volumes which are going up, right? So now coming to the perspective of when you build a cloud, what you see when you build a cloud, like there is a compute virtualization happening, there is a storage virtualization happening, but have you seen network and security being virtualized? No. Right? When we talk about cloud, we only concentrate on virtualization using VMware or KVM or any kind of things. We only look at virtualization from the storage perspective, but we never look at the network and the security. But these are the foundation elements which will give you the user experience and which will help you to move the applications, whether it's a north-south direction or a east-west direction, right? So these are the key things which you need to look at. So challenge one, what I was talking about is the connectivity issues, because today when we talk about cloud, you need to understand one thing. When we say Aadhaar is mapped to bank account is mapped to something else, to the UID, to that, to this, and then the user gets the information what he wants to. But when where these transactions happen, and how this transaction happen, and what is the pace these transactions needs to happen, so that he gets in seconds, right? So these happen inside the data center, and we call it as a east-west direction, what the traffic and the transactions are going to happen. That means when you Google it, when you see the Google, it says that out of 25 bytes, 5 bytes goes out of the data center and 20 bytes remains inside the data center. That means to say when you adopt cloud solutions, the traffic within the data center increases enormously, right? Because you have virtualization, you have VMs, you have put the applications in a distributed world. Now these guys have to interact each other and come out with the required information to the user. So the east-west direction traffic is increasing. So these are the things which you need to take care. I'm just saying, I'm pinpointing that when you adopt for the cloud services, please take care of this. Otherwise, you will not be able to scale out the cloud services tomorrow if you want to add more and more services onto it. So scale out model is very important, and these things has to be taken care when you build this kind of cloud services. So I'll not go deep into this, so I have spoken about it. So there are solutions which reduces the complexity, and for example, this is the one which I was talking about. So when a packet has to move from one server to another server, then it takes a longer time. Sorry, I didn't have, sorry. So there is animation, but I don't want to. So it takes a longer time. It takes multiple hops. There is delay. There is latency. So these things come up in the data center. So when you build a cloud, there is an architecture which is known as a fabric architecture. That means you connect any server to any server, or any server to any storage, or any server to any security within the data center as a single hop solution. So there may be 7,000 servers in your data center, but any server talking to any server will be a single hop solution. Any server talking to the storage will be a single hop solution. Any server talking to any storage will be a single hop solution. When you build these kind of solutions, then you can talk about user experience. Then you can talk about scale out model kind of things. And then you can talk about cloud. That is what I'm saying about, right? So that is coming from the connectivity, how you address your east-west direction of the transactions, what you want to have, and how you can build the user experience. Now when you talk about security, that's what I was telling. When you virtualize your network, the security, it has a paradigm shift. You cannot look at the security what you are looking 2 years back. That is what I'm saying. It is like a castle model. In a castle, what used to happen is one server, one application, I put one policy to stop the traffic coming into that server. But today it is not so. One server has multiple applications, right? How do you stop it? You can't create a perimeter, right? So what we call it as a hotel model. In a hotel, if you see, like here, there are a lot of people who come in, use the same rooms, but different people have different kinds of requirements, and that is satisfied by the hotel. Right? In the same way, in the virtualization world, you host many applications, you host many apps, you host a lot of things into the data center, but you need to provide security respective to those applications, to those hosting services. If you don't do that, then you can't provide a cloud service model, right? That is the key thing which you need to look at when you look at the cloud. How can I give security as per the customer or as per the application requirements? I can't put a big firewall there and say, everyone go there, I do this policy, I stop this and I allow this. No, today this cannot be done, right? Because of the applications what you use, because of the apps what people are using about, when we talk about G2C, G2B, there are different requirements. And you need to build those security policies in your cloud services to address those kind of policies, right? So there are a lot of solutions, like I don't want to go deep when I talk about SDN. So the other one which is coming up in the cloud is the SDN, and there is network function virtualization, what we talk about NFVs. Today, if you see a server with multiple VMs, have you seen that, have anyone looked at when the traffic moves from one VM to another VM, is there any policy being defined? Or do you check the traffic when it goes from one VM to another VM? You only check when the traffic moves from one server to the another server, right? That is where the problem comes in. These are all the black holes which you need to plug in when you talk about cloud services model, right? The segmentation capabilities, the customizable capabilities. For example, if the traffic is A, then what are the services which I need to provide so that the packet is opened once, it goes to those services and comes out and gives the user experience. Traffic B or a customer B, different policies, dynamic policies. So these are the things which are coming in the virtualized world and when we talk about cloud services, right? So I don't want to go deep because I don't have time, but these are the security concerns which needs to be addressed in the virtualization world, and these are being addressed, and I request to look at those security parameters when you try to deploy the cloud, right? These are the things which I just wanted to discuss. These are what we call it as NFVs. There are a lot of distributed NFVs coming in. For example, you want to build a state WAN, right? Then you can decide whether a firewall policy has to go to the panchayat and IPS policy has to go to the district, and there should be some application level security which should go to the data center. You can distribute this sitting centrally at one location. This is known as distributed network functionalities. So there are a lot of technologies, there is a lot of disruptive technologies, there are a lot of innovations which have happened. Once I know that coming from apps and applications, but the second as a company of Juniper, coming from the infrastructure, network, security perspective, right? And finally, then once you have all this, the two things which matters, as I was talking about, is big data analytics and how you have your logs, how you do the risk analysis, and how you do your vulnerabilities on your cloud. So these things needs to be taken care, right? Unless you don't know what is the vulnerabilities in your network, unless you don't know what is the risk which is happening in your network, then there is no way you can control what is coming in and what is going out of the network. So there are tools which you can deploy and then see what is the risk analysis, what is the vulnerabilities, how I can take care, how I can plug in. It gives you at least the information that these may be the attacks which are happening into your network. These may be the IP addresses which are creating problems to you. These may be the ones where applications are going to be attacked. So you get a fair idea, right, saying that, okay, my network is vulnerable at certain places and at certain levels. So you can do and go back and fill those gaps into it. So this is where I was talking about. So what we talk about is all high IQ networks, SDN. What SDN gives you? It gives you faster way of managing and configuration and those kind of things, orchestrating the entire data center, whether it's a compute, whether it's a storage, or whether it's a network, right? This is what SDN talks about. So just to the end to this, what are the critical things I wanted to talk about solving the problem is to have the best-in-class security and scale-out model of the data centers where you can take the cloud services and provide that user experience and also provide anywhere, anytime access to the citizens. So thank you. That is what my presentation.